Thank you for joining my presentation today as I talk about the benefits of HR professionals in churches, which is ethics for effective HR development programs. I will talk about why churches need to consider HR professionals in the aspect of managing their workforce, both volunteers and paid staff, and why certain ethics should be considered when making decisions for the organization in the area of human resource. And I will suggest biblical aspects to support why faith and leadership integrated can lead a church to a higher ground. The agenda for today, we first look at an overview of HR development in the context of church growth, the benefits of HR professionals in the church. We look at practical approaches for HR development programs in churches, and then the biblical principles for HR development. Looking at human resource development and church growth, we see that leadership is needed. There is a process needed or an approach needed. And then there is how to implement that approach or process also needed. So HR development and church growth, knowing who, knowing what, and how can be very effective. So leadership plays a very integral role in ensuring the growth and productivity in a church. This is where they prepare the workforce for their assigned tasks. And this is proven by research, Konospake and 2018 and Coles and Posner 2017 have emphasized that leadership play very integral role in developing the workforce. So once we identify leaders, the role of leaders in HR development, how do we do it? There must be an integration of leadership and faith when we talk of church growth, because faith cannot be taken away from church, the values and the beliefs following scripture has to be factored in every decision. And then leadership must also be steady. So integrating leadership and faith in churches, leaders must learn leadership strategies, and they also must keep biblical values as a technique to make decisions concerning human resource development. And this is where JAGA 2011 confirms that. Now, how do we do this? Human resource development programs then becomes the key point where these strategies can be effective. So when we look at the benefits of HR professionals in churches, their role will bring expertise in whatever is done concerning human resource development. They will look to it that the churches or the church organizations are staying in compliance with all applicable laws, labor laws, employment laws, and all that relates to employees and human resource. And then they also give guidance to top leadership, because it is very evident that churches mostly have lay leadership and they have people who are not necessarily HR professionals. So the collaboration or the employment of HR professionals for specific HR roles will bring order and bring ethical standards into the organization because the expertise will be used to ensure compliance and guidance. What are some practical approaches for HR development? According to ZEC 2010, approaches to implementing a human resource development program in a church includes using appropriate methods, employing suitable evaluators, and managing role conflict. Appropriate methods entails what the top management have identified as needed for the organization to grow. They are looking at the vision, the action plan, the strategies, but how do they use the workforce to achieve such goal? There must be methods that will align with HR strategies and then also target the vision at hand. There must be suitable evaluators. So once the methods are implemented, how will they be measured? How will they be measured? How can we see progress? How can we track the timeline, the scope? This is where evaluation aspect is very important by ensuring that people who are experts in such areas are involved in the process. And then there is the management of role conflict. Now, this stands for when a person is in charge of HR activities who are not necessarily HR experts, there is a possible role conflict. There is a chance for mistakes. There's a chance of overlooking very relevant things. So in this aspect, there has to be a deliberate focus on developing staff, developing leaders, developing emergent leaders, developing workforce, volunteers, anybody to make sure, although they are not experts, they are following certain ethical standards to ensure strategic growth. Now, the aspect of managing conflict leads into these 5 biblical principles for HR development to share here. In a way of managing this conflict of role, the faith aspect of the church connects to scripture to be honest in whatever is done. Honesty means the leader is able to become a role model to others. Others can look up to the leader and know that the way of the leader is the way that we can follow. There has to be sacrifice. Many people get the call, and when it gets to sacrificing, the work becomes challenging. The Bible teaches that honesty is key to following God's ways. Then walking the talk, not just about talking, but practically doing what a leader is telling others to do. There has to be respect for others. Respect also means seeing everyone as equal, listening to others' opinions, building up others. That is respect. The other aspect is investing wisely in others. When people are working, when people are dedicating their time, when people are dedicating their effort, sometimes their personal development, their professional development or goals may be shadowed. And this is where programs and leaders of the HR management should be able to identify these areas of weakness and strengths and find a way to incorporate programs in the HR development program to equip them, to bring them to speed. There has to be fairness in the approach. Fairness means recognizing and appreciating others. When there are good things done by others, they have to be recognized. Appreciation in form of um, acknowledging their contribution where they need to be compensated, and refraining from exploitation. Most times it is very common that people will be exploited because they are giving in their time, because they are sacrificing. What is the difference between um, a parent taking care of younger ones and someone who has all the time to themselves? This is where leadership should know that when you have people who have families, their work-life balance must be structured. So they are not putting all their time into the church or the organizational activities and ignoring the other responsibility of the family. And there has to be fairness from leadership and the HR development programs to make sure staff are taking time for their personal well-being. They're making promises carefully. Whenever promises are made, awareness of current events should be studied. There must be anticipation of consequences, keen perception, staying informed, and foresight. And this is an aspect of wisdom that needs to be incorporated into structures that will equip leaders to have this foresight strategically, to be applying wisdom in promise making. In conclusion, this presentation highlights a crucial role of ethical leadership and human resource development in the church. By incorporating or integrating faith and leadership, by consulting or employing HR professionals, structures will be in place and there will be an adequate programming structure that will tackle all gaps in the organization. However, this is not all about HR development in the church, and readers and researchers must dig deeper into more resources, biblical references concerning human resource development. Thank you for tuning in to my presentation today. If you want to reach out to me, I can be reached at my email and contact number below here, and hope to stay in touch with you. Thank you.